I have a vivid memory. I must have been 9 or 10, sometime right after my Uncle Steve passed away from complications with diabetes, of my grandfather crying. And through tears, I remember him saying, "I know he's burning in hell. I know he's burning in hell." I didn't know how my grandfather knew this, but this image of my uncle burning is one of the ones that my brain held on to for decades. As an adult, I now know that it was probably my grandfather's Christian beliefs and his fear of my uncle being agnostic that made him so confident. From what I've come to learn later on, he devoured books of all different types of religions. Maybe he was seeking something, some kind of comfort in the unknowable. I don't really have many memories of him living, just this one image of him burning, which isn't even really a memory. When I was 10 or 11, I asked a Sunday school teacher if God created everything, who created God. I remember the gasp she gave and how she chastised me in front of the entire class. We don't ask things like that. Questioning God is the ultimate sin. The ultimate sin. Worse than whatever my Uncle Steve had done. Worse than even murder. I carried this guilt around me for decades because after all, I had already asked the question. The sin had been committed. My childhood was littered with questions I felt like I couldn't ask. Landmines I had to tiptoe around. Why did Uncle Steve have a different last name than Grandpa? Why can't I ask about God? Is everyone's family like this? When I became a father, like many parents before me, I promised myself I would treat my daughter with respect. I would tell her the truth or my opinion on any topic that she may ask about, even if it was difficult to talk about. Parenting can feel, to me anyway, like a course correction for how we perceive our parents to have failed us. We never quite know if we've overcorrected until it's too late and the damage is already done. When my daughter was 4 years old, she asked me a question about decay, a word she had learned on the children's program Sid the Science Kid. I chose my words poorly, and the next thing I knew, I was discussing death and dying with my toddler. "Daddy, will I die?" I knew to lie to her was more about protecting me than her. Kids are resilient, I thought. They're malleable. I didn't want to talk about death with my daughter because of the uneasiness I felt in myself. "Oh, sweetheart," I began. "Everyone dies. We die and then we break down or decay and then return to the earth. It's a natural process. But you don't have to worry because you won't die for a very long time." My daughter's lip began to tremble like an old car engine. Tears formed in globs at the base of her eyelids and hung there in defiance of gravity. My stomach twisted like a balloon animal. No, it's okay. It's okay to be scared, but the truth is when you die, you'll be old and it won't even be scary anymore. The globs fell and she began to sob. I grabbed her and I held her tight. You'll be old and it won't even be scary anymore? Wasn't this a lie? How could I possibly know when my daughter would have to face death or how she would feel about it when she did? Does age guarantee absolute wisdom or solace when it comes to death? Was my father frightened?
What's my name?
I believe that he was.
Full name.
You know what my name is.
I know, but this is for other
It's
people.
Ronald Keith LaBee Sr.
This is for Meadow and all the other.
Meadow, the little Meadow girl.
Where were you born?
Where was I born?
Yeah.
Born in the USA, man, I was. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. Why?
Because I don't know. I'm trying to
Oh.
get stuff
Don't do
to.
that.
I don't. Are you nervous?
No.
You're shutting up. You're like, yeah, I don't like Florida.
Come on, Hockey, what else? You might want to take a break for a second because I want to get something.
I know your dad's dying. Looks like he's dying. But you don't have to die, maybe. If we could talk him into going to Barnes Hospital, he's been about, and if it doesn't pan out, well, what's the difference? If nothing else is panning out anyway.
Vincent Pop, I think he's already given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to just see him lay there and die. I kind of agree with Dad in the
sense that if he's up in St. Louis, it makes it really hard for anyone to come see him, and he's afraid that he'll be up there and no one will come see him.
I would rather.
Who cares?
But he does.
I'm not sure my father ever accepted the fact he was dying. I think his upbringing in the Christian faith brought him some intermittent comfort, but at times it seemed as though he was holding out for some miracle that would never come. I often wonder if this robbed him of acceptance.
It's hard to make a living around here in Hickory County.
Why do you think you guys stick around then?
I don't know. Too dumb to move.
No, that's not it.
What is it then?
I don't know.
I don't know either. My family grew up right here. I got a lot of history right here in this house and this property. That's the main reason why I'm not leaving. I mean, my kids grew up here and went all to school down here and graduated from here in Hermitage. I mean, there's a lot of time spent in this house. I feel that it's more where I grew up than St. Louis, really. I was only in St. Louis until I was 15, so I'm not into the big cities and big suburbs and stuff. I'd rather live out in the country more laid back and stuff, you know. But it's harder to make a living. You got to drive farther, or you got to have something going on your own.
I'm fairly agnostic, but I would be lying if I said I didn't occasionally find myself daydreaming about catching up with him when I see him in the afterlife. A comfortable lie I play for myself when I need peace from the unresolved.
Who let the dogs out?
Well, Dad's the one that didn't put us on the fucking shit anyways.
Get him.
Oh, I need one of just new Timmy Keith. Oh, that's right, that's right.
You have no beer to pull.
Libby, we get him all this.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Sorry. Hey guys, we love you.
Okay.
We're gonna pop with that loading, Dad. Alright.
We got you. Uh-oh. We got you.
Yep.
My daughter pulled herself from my embrace and asked me, "Old, like Grandma?" My mother was only 45 at the time and would probably not have considered herself the barometer of old age, but for a 4-year-old, 45 might as well be 100. Even older, I lied to her once more. The tears stopped as fast as they had started. She wiped her little pink nose on the end of her sleeve and walked back to the television where Sid was now describing the breakdown of a banana. My daughter grabbed the remote and changed the channel. "Why did you change it?" I asked. Without hesitation, she turned to me and said, "I don't want to watch this episode until I'm older than Grandma." And with that, she seemed at peace with it. Or at least that's what I told myself.